Listen to me. You're not here by accident. You're not here because two people decided to come together. You're not here because the world needed another warm body taking up space. You are here because purpose needed a place to land. Purpose needed a voice. Purpose needed a warrior. Purpose needed someone who could take pain, take pressure, take disappointment, take failure, and still get back up with fire in their eyes. That's why you're here. You were chosen long before you ever breathed your first breath. You were chosen before you knew how to speak, before you ever learned your first lesson, before life ever showed you what struggle feels like. Something bigger than you said, I need asterisk that asterisk one. And here's what most people don't realize. Purpose doesn't show up wrapped in comfort. Purpose doesn't enter your life with clear instructions or a soft landing. Purpose arrives disguised as problems, as obstacles, as moments that push you to your knees, and you start thinking you're cursed when really you're being carved. You think you're being punished when really you're being prepared. You think life is against you when life is actually shaping you for something you can't see yet. That pressure you feel, it's not here to break you. It's here to reveal you, to uncover the part of you that you forgot existed. The part that knew how to fight, the part that refuses to quit, the part that has been waiting for the moment you finally wake up and say, I was made for more. You're here because purpose needed your personality, your voice, your story, your scars, your resilience. You think the things you went through disqualified you. No, those things asterisk qualified asterisk you. You think your past made you unworthy. No, your past made you necessary, because there is somebody out there who can only learn from someone like you. Somebody who can only be reached by the tone you carry. Somebody whose breakthrough is tied to your obedience. You're not here to be perfect. You're here to be real. You're here to be impactful. You're here to stand up in your truth, even if your truth isn't polished or pretty. Purpose doesn't need pretty. It needs powerful, and power comes from what you've survived. Life placed you here because there is a need in this world that only your gifts can fill, only your spirit can carry, only your discipline can build. You weren't given your dreams by accident. You weren't given your abilities by accident. You weren't given your hardships by accident. Every piece of you is designed for the mission you're here to fulfill. And deep down, you know there's something you're supposed to be doing, something you keep trying to silence because it scares you, something you keep pushing away because you feel unprepared, something you talk yourself out of because you think you're not enough. But let me tell you something. You don't have to be enough right now. You just have to be willing to grow, willing to learn, willing to fight, willing to try again, willing to stop hiding behind excuses and step into the responsibility of your calling. Your life is not random. Your gifts are not random. Your passions are not random. Your pain is not random. Everything is connected. Everything is pointing toward the same truth. You are here to fulfill something bigger than yourself. But purpose is not passive. It doesn't chase the lazy. It doesn't reveal itself to the distracted. It doesn't unfold for people who sit in fear and wait for guarantees. Purpose responds to action, to commitment, to courage. When you start moving, even if you're unsure, purpose starts pulling you. When you show life you're ready to work, life shows you why you're here. You start meeting the right people. You start discovering new strength. You start feeling a shift inside you, like something is waking up. Something that's been dormant, something that's tired of watching you live beneath your potential. And once you taste that awakening, once you feel even a glimpse of why you're here, you can't go back to living small. You can't go back to pretending you don't matter. You can't go back to hiding your gifts or silencing your voice. You can't go back to living for approval or waiting for permission, because you finally realize this life isn't happening to you. It's happening asterisk through asterisk you. You realize you weren't put here to survive the world. You were put here to shift the world. You weren't put here to follow. You were put here to lead. You weren't put here to copy. You were put here to create. You weren't put here to seek validation. You were put here to ignite transformation. And if you've ever doubted your purpose, if you've ever questioned your value, if you've ever wondered why you exist, let this be the moment you understand the truth. You are here because purpose needed you. You are here because destiny chose you. You are here because something in this world will never be the same once you step into who you were created to be. Now rise, because the world needs what only you can give. When we talk about growth, most people hear the word and immediately think it's something that happens outside of them, like it's about getting a bigger house, more money, more followers, or more recognition. And yes, growth can show up in those forms, but real growth, the kind that changes your life, starts inside. Growth begins when you decide that staying comfortable is no longer an option. It begins when you recognize that what got you here won't get you there. Comfort is a trap, and it's one of the biggest enemies to the life you were designed to live. Comfort whispers in your ear, you're fine where you are. Just keep doing what you've been doing. But that whisper is a lie, and if you listen to it too long, you will wake up one day realizing you've wasted precious time, talent, and opportunity. Growth is uncomfortable because it pushes you against your limits. It forces you to face the parts of yourself you'd rather ignore, the doubts, the fears, the excuses, the habits that have been holding you back. Every time you step out of your comfort zone, every time you do something hard that you didn't think you could, your mindset expands. Your skills sharpen, your confidence deepens, you start to understand that you are capable of so much more than you allowed yourself to believe, and that is the point. Growth is about transformation. It's about becoming a version of yourself that you couldn't have imagined yesterday. It's about elevating your thinking, your behavior, and your results to a level that matches the life you're meant to live. Think about it. If growth only happened in comfort, then life would be easy for everyone. But the truth is, the people who rise to the top aren't the ones who coasted. They're the ones who persevered through difficulty. They're the ones who showed up when the world told them to quit, who pushed through resistance when everyone else stopped, who kept learning, kept evolving, and kept stepping into discomfort every single day. Growth is not about waiting for perfect conditions. It's not about waiting until you feel ready, because that moment will never come. You grow by taking action, by putting yourself in situations that stretch you, by daring to try, fail, and try again. You grow when you refuse to let fear dictate your pace. One of the biggest misconceptions about growth is that it's linear, that it happens in predictable steps, but growth is messy. Growth is chaotic. Growth will test your patience. Growth will challenge your relationships, your beliefs, and even your sense of who you are. You will encounter setbacks. You will face criticism. You will feel pain. And the key is not to avoid the discomfort, but to lean into it, because every challenge contains a lesson, and every lesson contains progress. If you're willing to endure the temporary struggle, you'll experience permanent transformation. That's how greatness is built, one uncomfortable step at a time. Now, growth also requires accountability. You cannot grow if you're unwilling to face the truth about yourself. That means owning your mistakes, acknowledging your weaknesses, and committing to change. It means being honest about how you spend your time, what you allow into your mind, and the kind of energy you're giving to your work and relationships. Growth demands self-reflection, discipline, and persistence. It requires a willingness to take the uncomfortable journey of evaluating yourself honestly and doing what's necessary to become better, stronger, and wiser. Every person who achieves real growth understands that progress is the sum of small, consistent actions, not occasional bursts of effort. You cannot shortcut this process. You cannot fake it. You either do the work consistently or you remain stagnant. Another aspect of growth is understanding that it often involves leaving things behind. You can't move forward while holding on to habits, people, or environments that no longer serve you. Sometimes growth demands that you make hard decisions, cut toxic relationships, change your routines, pursue new knowledge, or take risks that make others uncomfortable. Growth requires courage, the courage to step away from what's familiar and safe and step into the unknown. And yes, stepping into the unknown is terrifying, but it's also where opportunity lies. If you stay in comfort, you will never meet the version of yourself that is capable of achieving extraordinary things. Growth requires sacrifice, but the payoff is freedom, the freedom to live a life that reflects your true potential. Growth also requires persistence because progress is rarely instant. You will not become who you are meant to be overnight. You will not reach the top in one leap. Growth is built through repetition, endurance, and commitment to the process. Every day, you choose actions that either move you forward or hold you back. And over time, those daily choices compound. The small steps you take consistently, even when you don't feel like it, are what create the momentum for massive change. Every time you choose growth over comfort, you are investing in your future self. You are proving to yourself and to the world that you are committed to becoming more than you were yesterday. And here's the ultimate truth. The world is full of people who settle. They choose comfort over progress, safety over risk, and familiarity over growth. But if you are willing to endure the discomfort, to step into the unknown, to work harder than you thought you could, you begin to rise above the masses. You begin to see opportunities where others see obstacles. You begin to develop skills, habits, and mindset that others will never understand because they refuse to pay the price. Growth sets you apart. It transforms you from someone who merely exists to someone who dominates their own life, someone who leaves a legacy, someone who lives with purpose and intentionality. So the question isn't just, why am I here? The deeper question is, am I here to grow? Because growth is the reason we're alive. Growth is why we face challenges. Growth is why we survive pain. Growth is why we endure failure. Growth is why we are given talents, time, and opportunities. And if you embrace it, if you commit to the uncomfortable, if you push yourself beyond every self-imposed limit, you will discover the person you were truly meant to be. You will become someone who doesn't just exist. You will become someone who leads, inspires, and leaves an impact that cannot be erased. You are here to grow beyond the limits you inherited, beyond the fears you've carried, beyond the comfort you've clung to. You are here to rise above, to push yourself, and to step fully into the life that is waiting for you on the other side of discomfort. Growth is not a gift, it's a responsibility. And if you accept it, if you chase it relentlessly, if you refuse to quit, you will transform yourself and the world will take notice. Your purpose demands it, so rise and grow. When we talk about impact, most people immediately think about big gestures, making a lot of money, gaining fame, leaving a name on a building, or posting achievements on social media. And while those things may be visible, they aren't the true measure of impact. Real impact is deeper, more enduring, and far more personal. Impact is about what you leave behind in the hearts, minds, and lives of the people around you. It's about how your actions, your words, your habits, and your presence ripple outward in ways that inspire, uplift, and transform. The reason so many people struggle to understand their purpose is because they underestimate the power of their influence. You might think you're small, that your actions don't matter, that no one is watching. But that is the lie that keeps people from realizing the true reason they are here. You were put on this earth to make a difference, not just for yourself, but for the lives that intersect with yours. Impact starts with awareness. You must recognize that everything you do matters, whether you notice it or not. Every interaction you have, every word you speak, every decision you make carries weight. A kind word can change someone's day. A small gesture of generosity can spark a chain reaction of positivity. A moment of courage can encourage someone else to take their first step. The truth is, even the things you consider insignificant may have profound effects on people you'll never meet. That's why living with intention is crucial. If you move through life without awareness, without purpose, you may leave no lasting mark. But if you live with clarity about the influence you hold, you become a force that cannot be ignored. You begin to see your life as a platform for contribution rather than a space for mere existence. And contribution doesn't always mean grand acts. It doesn't always mean changing the world overnight. Contribution can be as simple as showing up consistently, being reliable, and treating people with respect and dignity. It can mean taking the time to listen, to mentor, to teach, or to encourage someone who feels invisible. Every act of service, no matter how small, compounds over time. When you consistently choose to uplift others, you create a legacy that cannot be measured by money or status. Your impact is reflected in the lives that are better because you were present, in the hope you inspired, in the lessons you shared, in the encouragement you gave when no one else would. That is the foundation of a life that matters. Now, impact also requires courage. It's easy to stay in the shadows, to live a life that's comfortable and convenient. But those who truly make a difference step out of their comfort zones. They confront fear. They challenge the status quo. They take risks for the sake of creating something meaningful. Impact requires a willingness to be vulnerable, to lead when it's hard, to speak when silence would be easier. It requires showing up when nobody else shows up and doing what you know is right, even if it's unpopular or difficult. That is how influence grows. That is how your presence starts to change the trajectory of others' lives. Another key element of impact is accountability. You must hold yourself to a standard higher than mere survival. Your actions, your words, and your choices must reflect integrity and purpose. People will follow what they see in you more than what they hear from you. If you want to inspire, you must model the behavior you wish to see. You must walk your talk. You must embody the principles and values you want to instill in others. Impact is not about what you say, it's about who you are in action. People remember how you make them feel, how you challenge them to rise, how you push them to see their potential. That is the essence of leaving a legacy that truly matters. Impact is also about legacy. You may not live forever, but the influence of your life can. The seeds you plant today, the encouragement you give, the standards you uphold, the sacrifices you make, they can grow in ways you may never witness. Someone may take what you've given them and create something greater. Someone may remember your guidance in a moment of crisis. Someone may carry forward your principles into the next generation. That is why living for impact is bigger than living for recognition or reward. The true measure of your life is not in how much you acquire, but in how much you leave behind that empowers others to thrive. And here's the truth. Impact requires consistency. One act of kindness, one speech, one motivational moment, one good deed is not enough. Real influence is the result of daily choices, repeated actions, and persistent dedication to making the world better, even in ways that may seem invisible. Consistency builds trust, credibility, and momentum. People begin to believe in your vision not because of one moment of brilliance, but because of your unwavering commitment to showing up, to giving, to leading. That is how your influence spreads and compounds. That is how small, deliberate actions create exponential results. But impact also demands selflessness. It's not about what people can do for you. It's about what you can do for people. It's about moving beyond your comfort and convenience to meet needs, to solve problems, to uplift spirits, to inspire action. True impact is measured not by applause or accolades, but by the transformation you ignite in others. You may not get recognition for every life you touch, but the universe recognizes consistency, commitment, and contribution. Your legacy grows quietly, steadily, and powerfully, often in ways you cannot see, but it is real and it is lasting. And finally, impact is contagious. When you live intentionally and purposefully, you inspire others to do the same. Your influence creates a ripple effect, touching people you will never meet, reaching places you will never see, and inspiring people who will carry your example forward. Impact is not just about what you do, it's about what you create in the hearts and minds of others, the values you instill, the courage you model, and the hope you spark. That is the real reason you're here, to move beyond existence, to rise above, and to be a catalyst for change in the world around you. You are not here just to live. You are here to impact, to leave a mark, and to inspire a life that others can follow. Step up and own it. When we talk about finishing what you started, we are not just talking about completing a task or achieving a goal. Finishing what you started is a mindset, a lifestyle, a level of discipline and commitment that separates those who reach their potential from those who merely drift through life. Too many people start things with excitement, energy, and optimism, but they stop short of completion. They quit when things get hard, when motivation fades, when obstacles appear, or when the results don't arrive as fast as they expected. But life doesn't reward intention alone. Life rewards persistence, grit, and the ability to follow through. Finishing what you started is about proving to yourself, first and foremost, that your word matters, that your effort matters, that your dreams are worth the struggle, no matter how long it takes, no matter how uncomfortable the journey gets. To finish what you started, you must first understand that commitment is non-negotiable. When you begin something, you are essentially making a promise to yourself. That promise is a declaration of your intention, a signal to your mind and body that you are willing to see this through no matter what comes your way. Every time you allow yourself to quit, even in small ways, you train your mind to give up when the going gets tough. Every time you follow through, you reinforce the idea that your effort is meaningful, that your persistence has power, and that your dreams are attainable. Commitment is not passive. It is an active choice, repeated over and over again, day after day, in ways that are often invisible to anyone else but profoundly transformative to your life. Finishing what you started also demands resilience. Obstacles are guaranteed. Life will test you, challenge you, and try to push you off course. People will doubt you, circumstances will resist you, and even your own mind will whisper that it's easier to quit. But resilience is what allows you to continue moving forward despite these challenges. It's the inner strength that refuses to let temporary discomfort dictate permanent decisions. Resilience is built through experience, through failure, through facing difficulty head on and refusing to let it break you. Every setback, every moment of frustration, every point where you feel like giving up is an opportunity to cultivate the kind of mental toughness that will carry you through not only this goal, but every challenge that comes after. Another crucial aspect of finishing what you started is discipline. Discipline is what allows you to show up even when motivation is gone. Motivation is fleeting. It comes and goes like the tide. Discipline, on the other hand, is constant. Discipline is waking up early when your bed feels too comfortable. Discipline is working hard even when nobody is watching. Discipline is pushing past fatigue, boredom, or frustration to do what you committed to do. Discipline doesn't wait for perfect conditions. It creates them. It doesn't ask for permission, it acts. Without discipline, starting is easy, but finishing is impossible. Discipline is the bridge between potential and achievement, between intention and execution. Finishing what you started also requires focus. So often, people begin multiple projects or chase multiple goals at once without giving themselves the bandwidth to truly complete any of them. They spread their energy thin, moving from one shiny object to the next, leaving a trail of unfinished projects behind them. True impact, true success, and true growth come from focus. Focus means prioritizing what matters most and giving it the attention, energy, and effort it deserves. Focus means saying no to distractions, temptations, and easy outs so that you can dedicate yourself fully to the goal you committed to. Focus turns intention into action and action into results. Accountability plays a massive role as well. You must hold yourself responsible for the promises you make to yourself. Too many people rely solely on external pressures, other people's expectations, deadlines, or rewards to push them forward, but real power comes from internal accountability. It's the ability to say, I will finish what I started because I said I would, because my future self deserves it, and because quitting is not an option. Accountability means refusing to make excuses, refusing to blame circumstances, and refusing to hand control of your progress over to anyone else. You are responsible for your life, your growth, and your results, and finishing what you start is a direct reflection of that responsibility. Finishing what you started also demands patience. Most people give up because they want immediate results. They start something and expect to see change, growth, or reward overnight, but life works in increments. Success is built through repetition, consistency, and incremental progress. Finishing requires an understanding that the journey is just as important as the destination. Every step you take, no matter how small, compounds over time. Every action you take builds momentum, and every moment you resist quitting strengthens your character, your resolve, and your capacity to handle bigger challenges in the future. Furthermore, finishing what you started is a matter of integrity. Your word, your commitments, your promises, these are reflections of your character. When you start something and fail to finish it, even if no one else knows, you compromise your own trust in yourself. But when you see things through, when you finish what you start, you reinforce the belief that you are capable, dependable, and consistent. Integrity in action breeds confidence, respect, and self-belief. It signals to yourself and the world that you are someone who can be counted on, someone who does not abandon the journey halfway, someone who honors their commitments no matter the difficulty. Finally, finishing what you started is transformative. Every time you push through when you feel like quitting, every time you endure, every time you keep going despite fear or doubt, you grow stronger, more capable, and more resilient. Finishing is a teacher. It teaches patience, discipline, focus, resilience, and accountability. It molds your character, it builds your confidence, it strengthens your ability to handle bigger challenges, and it transforms your life from one of potential to one of achievement. So understand this, life will test your commitment, it will challenge your will, and it will present obstacles. But the people who achieve greatness, the people who leave a legacy, the people who realize their dreams, they are the ones who finish what they started. They are the ones who say, no matter what, I will see this through. They are the ones who refuse to quit, who refuse to compromise, and who refuse to settle. Your future self is counting on you. Your dreams are waiting for you to show up fully. Your purpose is demanding that you honor it. Finishing what you started is not easy, but it is necessary. It is the difference between potential and greatness, between wishing and achieving, between who you are and who you were meant to become. The world doesn't need people who start and quit. It needs people who endure, people who persist, people who finish strong. So don't stop, don't quit, don't give up when it gets hard. Finish what you started. Your life, your legacy, and your future self depend on it.